Hi loves, welcome to Grabbing Life by the Balls. Since 2022, I've had the same goals every year and I'm officially sick of it. The past year, I've gained a lot of relationship weight and it's been causing a lot of pain in different areas. Like I'm having shoulder problems, my lower back is starting to hurt. This could also just be age, but I am very out of shape compared to what I used to be. I also feel like I'm just not where I want to be financially at the age of 25. As much as I really love the work that I do, I feel like I have a lot of other things on my bucket list that I really want to achieve and check off on my list. Things happened that were out of my control. I've decided that I'm no longer going to let those circumstances dictate like how I make my decisions and what kind of decisions I make. I want to take back control of my life this year. I know life is super short, so I really want to be able to like go after those goals and chase those dreams and not be afraid of the outcome and not be afraid of failing. I've decided no more excuses. I'm speaking my goals into existence, and if you're in the same boat as me, subscribe, join me on this journey, and we can make 2026 your year too. At the end of last year, the number one thing that I realized was holding me back was self-abandonment. Self-abandonment comes from suppressing, rejecting, or ignoring your needs, desires, or emotions. About a year ago, I was journaling and I had this, I guess, like light bulb moment where I realized that I've been abandoning myself for 20 plus years, and I really connected with my child self. I pictured a very young version of me, probably like 5 years old, and I was wearing like a really pretty pastel yellow dress. In this image of myself, I was laughing, I was carefree, I was happy. I was wearing heels because I love wearing heels. Like I love feeling pretty like a princess. And then I came back to reality after that moment and visualizing myself. Over time, I stopped wearing dresses, I stopped dancing around, I stopped singing. But that image of my younger self made me cry so much, because somewhere along the way, I realized that I like completely just abandoned myself and all my desires. I let the world dictate how I was supposed to feel, how I was supposed to dress, how I was supposed to think. It was such a small little thing, but I couldn't stop asking myself, like, when and why did I start letting the world tell me what I liked and who to be? My parents modeled self-rejection and self-abandonment to me. My needs were never put first, and they also like did that. My mom abandoned many pieces of herself, and it would manifest in different ways. My dad too, he was a kind of a people pleaser. When I voiced my needs as a kid, they were always ignored or like rejected. Eventually I just shoved down all my desires and I stopped asking for what I wanted, just because that was how I was conditioned to be. I hope you can pause this video and think about, how long has it been since you've been abandoning yourself? As much as this video is here to help me and to help me document my changes, it's also here to help you. So if you're anything like me and you practice self-abandonment, it can be really hard to spot the signs so ingrained in us, and it's such a big part of us. There was a voice inside of me that was always like, oh, you deserve better. I think there were so many other parts of me that were competing with it and telling it to shut up and making excuses for everything. I've been slowly trying to find the pieces of me and putting them back together. I think there's such a long way to go, and 2026 feels like it's that year where I'm going to make a huge leap in the changes that I make to my life. I'm going to rapid fire some signs that may point towards or suggest that you are self-abandoning. The first one is if you find ways to lie instead of telling the truth about your feelings. This is people pleasing. You are putting other people's needs and feelings and wants before yours. Maybe when you used to share what you wanted or needed, it wasn't accepted. So you find other ways to kind of get out of things. Say like someone asks you to hang out and you don't want to hang out, but you say yes anyways because you feel bad. I used to do this all the time. Later on, I might like find another excuse to like not go to this hangout. But in reality, I could have just said no to begin with. This used to come from when you used to share what you wanted or needed and it wasn't accepted. So you find other ways to basically get out of things. The second sign is that you lack boundaries, and this is a very common one. But also, like, you tend to get mad at other people when they don't do things for you and they don't do the same things. Nobody really owes you anything. If you're doing something and offering it out of the kindness of your own heart, then there shouldn't be an expectation of like, oh, you need to give something back to me. If you were going to grow resentful, maybe it was better to not do it in the first place. Obviously, there are people who will take advantage of your kindness. That also comes with setting boundaries. Like someone with lack of boundaries tend to attract people that take more, because whether it be on a subconscious or a conscious level, people can tell if you're going to say yes to things all the time or if you're someone with boundaries. This third one is a huge one for me, and I feel like it's a lot of the reason why I never really went after the things that I wanted to do. You think that there are things that you deserve to have, but you never fully commit or put full effort into achieving it. That's because somewhere deep down inside of you, there is a part of you that feels like you are not worthy. This part is actually very loud. This part of you thinks that you do not deserve things and you do not deserve to be successful or to get the things that you want. I'm here to tell you that you deserve those things. And it doesn't matter how big the goal feels, you deserve to give yourself a shot. And this belief probably came from years and years of conditioning of people telling you that your wants and needs are not important and they are not deserving, and that you are not deserving of great achievements. I'm not calling anybody out to make them feel bad. These are things that I've all done at one point in my life. Some of these things I still kind of do because I've had years and years of conditioning. It's completely okay as long as you're honest with yourself about it and you slowly try to make changes. The next one is you have a million priorities in your life. I used to feel like everything was extremely important and that everything was a priority. I feel like I would prioritize other people's things more than I would prioritize my own. And it was truly exhausting. I was late to everything and I could never fully commit to any of the things that I was involved in because I genuinely didn't have the time, but I wanted to do everything. The next one is you do things that you don't want to do but feel guilty if you don't do it. This can be as simple as if someone were to ask you for a ride and you really don't have to say yes, but you say yes anyways because you feel bad, or you agree to going to an event even though you didn't really want to go to that event and you'd rather go and do something else. This was for survival and you were probably manipulated or made to feel like shit if you did say no. Silence was a huge manipulator in my household. Whenever I said no, whenever I set boundaries, whenever I stood up for myself, I was labeled as the bad kid and my parents would not talk to me. They would literally like go silent. Now that I'm older and I think about it, I think they're like shutting down because they can't handle boundaries, and it's not necessarily like my fault. I had to really learn to like sit in that silence, sit in the guilt, and realize that I'm not doing anything wrong for setting boundaries and saying no. The last one, many of us are probably not going to want to hear, and it's going to hurt our feelings because it hurt my feelings too. People ask you to do things, but not other people, even if it might be an inconvenience to you. This was a really hard pill for me to swallow because there are many people that I love in my life and they will ask me to do X, Y, and Z. It was really difficult to accept to myself that there might be a subconscious part of them that are asking me and not other people because they know that I'm a people pleaser and I'm going to say yes. Being a pushover will allow other people to feel more comfortable asking, and they might push more because they know that you're going to be more likely to say yes. It's not necessarily their fault, also not your fault. It's one of those things that it takes like a very long time to be able to start saying no and to switch up the dynamic. It's going to be really hard in the beginning to undo all of this conditioning. So I hope you can start practicing asking yourself these two questions that will really help you say no. For a lot of us, it's very automatic, and most of the time you don't mind saying yes to people that you love. I enjoy doing things for my friends. I enjoy doing things for my family. That leaves a lot less time for me to spend it on myself and to do my own things. And so it's not about the fact that you don't love them, but it's more so about the fact that we want to carve out a little more time to prioritize yourself. So the two questions that I hope that you can ask yourself when you're caught in a predicament is, what is the reason that you're saying yes to this thing? And the second question is, do I really, truly, really want to do this thing? So really ask yourself these two questions before you say yes. It's going to take time. You're not going to be able to say no right away, and that is completely fine. It's kind of like adding that extra step before you say yes. We want to slow you down in that process and that conditioning. If you're saying yes to something because you want to avoid feeling guilty or ashamed or any other like negative emotions, I'd encourage you to really reconsider agreeing to something like this and instead sit with that feeling and really ask yourself, why do I feel guilty for this? Guilt and shame and all these negative emotions are really strong manipulators. Those feelings come from somewhere. Most of the time it comes from our family. Rather than saying yes and trying to relieve that emotion and then having to pay for it later, it's better and more productive to sit in those emotions and really work through it with yourself. And if your answer to the second question, which was, do I really want to do this thing? Do I really want to say yes? And if the answer is no, then it kind of leads you back to the first question, which is, why am I saying yes to this thing? Or what is my reason for agreeing to this? The whole point of these two questions is not to get you to just completely stop being a people pleaser. It's really to get you thinking about the conditioning that's so deeply ingrained in us. It's no one's fault for self-abandoning their desires and their wants and their needs, but in an unfair way, it has become our responsibility. You deserve to have your desires be fulfilled, but stop pushing that part of you away. Stop telling that voice to shut up. He or she is there to advocate for you. I hope that you can take this video as a sign to really start putting yourself first this year. It's not going to be easy. It's the first month and I'm already like dying from trying to put myself first because I'm fighting everything within me to try to not do those things that I've been doing for 25 years of my life. If you're having trouble even understanding like what your needs are because you've self-abandoned for such a long time, check out my video on needs. Thank you for listening to this video and chatting with me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.